Two races are already in the books, and the curtain's about to come down on a triple header of TC America powered by Skip Barber action here at Barber Motorsports Park, deep in the heart of the South, just outside of Birmingham, Alabama. Hello, my name is Ryan Marine. Calvin Fish is alongside. Amanda Busick is down in the pits. We've already crowned our champion-elect for 2025. Congratulations to Jeff Ricca, who secured that title in the first race of the weekend, but still plenty to race for in hot but blustery conditions here in Alabama. 84 degrees Fahrenheit. Track temperatures starting to climb up towards triple digits. But conditions a little bit different than we've seen throughout the weekend so far, especially with this breeze and the overcast skies. That is a change, but the humidity is quite high, and so the challenge remains for driver and car alike trying to navigate the upcoming 25 minutes of action.
Yeah, and I think for the Toyota drivers in this field with an all-wheel drive vehicle, they were home from maybe a little bit of rain here today, but in the dry, Neudorf going for a triple sweep here of the weekend, so it certainly got pace. It was a great battle with Jeff Ricca coming back yesterday in race 2 after having technical issues in the first race here yesterday. It was mano a mano, and Neudorf got the job done. So rain or shine, I think the Toyotas have definitely got a shot here of another victory.
This is the champion-elect for the second straight year. Jeff Ricca wraps up the title and does so here at Barber Motorsports Park. There's the #1 sign from Jeff as he's about to go for his first win of the weekend, looking to add to that impressive win total. He'll have to supplant this man, Jonathan Neudorf, if he's going to do so. Down on the grid is our Amanda Busick. What stories are you chasing here today, Amanda?
Hey, Ryan, yeah, you're going to see me at the back of this grid because I'm happy to announce that we do have the Mazda of Chris Taylor to compete here today. I had heard some rumors that they might not make it, but talking to him this morning, he told me miracles do happen. I'm going to have our camera guy, Joey, go up and onto Chris Taylor because the other additional information that I heard that Joey just told me is Chris Taylor actually has tuned Joey's own B-Spec car. So pretty cool for that, and happy for our family of racers down here as well on the grid. But 8 cars ready to take after the track here at Barber Motorsports. After qualifying this morning, there were a couple of raindrops to fall on pit lane, so we'll keep an eye on that. And we're getting a nice breeze down here to cut that humidity, guys.
I'm sure that's welcome after the heat of yesterday. This is one of the other stories that we'll be following. It's Eric Coons, actually, in the number 77, that's had some technical issues. Slowed late in the race yesterday, didn't he, Calvin? It cost him a position in the final running order of race number 2. It's a gearbox issue that they have not been able to rectify on site. Eric will take the start in order to score some points, but doesn't look like he's going to be very busy today, unfortunately.
Yeah, we got some info a short while ago that unfortunately they've been unable to really get a technical fix done on that race car. It's gearbox issues that, as you said, cost him a spot, P4 yesterday to a Trell. And they don't want to get in anyone's way. They know that there's a lot going on with this championship, not so much for the win, but also for second and third. Is very tight between PJ Gronke and Neudorf. So they're going to just stop on pit lane there. They'll just cross the stripe, so to speak, on pit lane, stay parked. If a car is an issue early, they may run a few laps at low speed, but they just don't want to get in anyone's way here today. Yeah,
very thoughtful for sure. The beneficiary yesterday of his issues was Connor Ritrell, as you mentioned, got that position late in the going, part of the Gin Racer Hyundai team, which has had a good weekend despite the fact it's been all JMF in terms of winning the races. Neudorf won both yesterday, looking to make it a sweep of 3 races here today. But we've had some impressive debuts, haven't we? Alana Carter, in particular, in race 1 of the weekend, stormed to 2nd place. Really impressive in her first ever touring car start.
Yeah, it was amazing. Great performance in qualifying for race 1, and she followed that up with just a stoic run there to claim the run-out position. Got a little bit out of position early yesterday and struggled with their race strategy to get back into the big points, but still, she had a big smile on her face, and she's looking to rebound here today in race 3 and see if she can get back on that podium once again.
It would not be a stretch to say this is a unique place, and a good part of it has to do with the eclectic decorating tastes of George Barber. You've got Georgina hanging suspended from the pedestrian walkover bridge. You've got Charlotte.
I'm thinking of a
Charlotte's
great
Web
photo
fame.
op here later.
Yeah.
After, how about we get Amanda to hang alongside? What do you think?
I don't know. Is she up for it? That's the question.
I don't know.
Maybe she could borrow Georgina's wardrobe as well. And we've got some spectators from around the track as well. I mean, this place, it is something special. Amanda, what do you think about Calvin's idea?
I mean, I go back to elementary school, and when they were still giving out presidential fitness, I was an award winner, so maybe I could use my arm strength to hang there next to George Gina. I will say, though, I was talking to, I've been curious if drivers in the race cars actually see some of the sculptures around this place, and I was talking to James Klimas, and he was saying that you actually do. While you're all obviously focusing on your race, he just called this place so unique and compared the rhythm that you get into as a driver as Sonoma-like. So not sure if you guys can expand on that, but drivers see the sculptures around here, but hopefully they won't see me hanging.
Let's hope not as well. Cal, what do you think of the analogy?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I mean, I can't believe they're seeing some of these sculptures as they're racing around this racetrack, because it takes total focus and precision to get around this racetrack with lap time. Maybe on the cool-down lap, maybe on these laps, the formation laps after the checkered flag, but I think when you're racing, it's all about hitting your marks.
The comparison to Sonoma, though, I think is an apt one. There are a lot of blind corners, elevation change, a big part of it, and not many straightaways to rest.
No, I think a lot of these blind crests when you're finishing corners like turn 3, 4 at Sonoma reminds me of 11, 12, but at much lower speed at Sonoma, of course. But yes, I think that analogy is spot on.
Here's a look at how they'll line up for the third race of the weekend. It is Jeff Rica on pole for the second straight race. Did not lead a lap, though, despite starting on pole in race 2. Jonathan Neudorf took the lead, never looked back. He's a perfect 2 for 2 on the weekend. PJ Gronke will finish no better than second in points, but he's in a big battle with Neudorf to try and do so. He'll have his teammate, Alana Carter, for company in row number 2. To the third row of the grid, that's where you'll find Connor Attrell next to Antonio Costantino. They've been working through some electrical gremlins on that car. Hopefully, they're sorted for the race today. Then it's James Klimas and Chris Taylor starting out back in the fourth row. Eric Coons, as we've chronicled, will start from the pit lane. Unlikely to see him take part in any meaningful way today, but will at least register as a starter in order to score some points. So that's the field as we get ready to go. 2 races remain after this one at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Much different proposition than the rolling hills of Alabama. That's a conversation for another day as the field comes by to complete the first of 2 formation laps. Good crowd on hand as well to take in all of the TC action here today. The front row again is your champion-elect Jeff Rica and Jonathan Neudorf, the winner of the first 2 races this weekend, and Amanda can tell us more about them.
I was talking to Jonathan as he was getting suited up to get into that race car, and I was talking about the triple that he can land here this weekend, and I was kind of talking out loud. I wonder if anyone has won 3 in a row on a weekend, and I said if there's someone that could do it, it was probably Jeff Rica. So I turned and leaned into Jeff Rica's race car. He was like, it was me in Sebring. So we have had that accolade here this weekend, but Jonathan, of course, wants to add that. I will take you a little bit this way. I do see that Gen Racer Hyundai of Eric Coons. They did have the hood up on that race car. It is now down. They are pushing it. So, Ryan, I think you're right. We will not see that take to competition today. But let's get suited. If I can zoom over this way as well, I do want to give props out to all the fans that are watching around here at Barber Motorsports Park. If you can hear me or if you can hear me watching from home, please go to your app store and download GT World powered by SRO. That's where you can find the latest series news. You can watch along with our races and tuck in for all the action here at Barber Motorsports and around the world in SRO World, guys.
Fantastic. It is a new edition just debuting here this weekend, and we encourage you to check it out. Great to see the fans coming out, too, to support this event as they did a year ago when top-level sports car racing returned to this venue for the first time in about a decade. All right, about time to get started. Yesterday, Neudorf really aggressive on the start, Cal, to take the lead away from the pole-sitter Jeff Rica. Can he make that same move work 2 days in a row, though?
Well, he's in exactly the same spot, so you'd have to think that Jeff Rica's thinking about that. I think he has the pace to maybe win the race and stop Neudorf from sweeping the weekend, but I think turn 1 could be crucial.
We'll see what happens. Pace car is accelerated away. The 4 rows in alignment. It's a Hyundai and a Toyota on the front row. All Hyundais in row 2. Hyundai Toyota in row 3, and a Toyota and a Mazda out back in row number 4. Here comes the field looking for the green flag that will start the third and final race of the triple header weekend. There's the green. Great getaway from Ricka this time. Neudorf will have to come from a long way back. In fact, that's not going to happen because PJ Gronk, crucially, has come through to take second position, and that is massive because he and Neudorf are embroiled in a really tight battle for second place in points.
Yeah, Neudorf there immediately lost the front end on the race car as he tried to turn it into turn 2, so didn't anticipate the start well, and then didn't have the car underneath them when he was trying to get into the teeth of Gronky and Ricka up front. Down in the brake zone for turn 5 here. Big opportunity here for Ricka to really capitalize on the fact that Neudorf possibly is closest pursuer, but let's not discount PJ Gronk. He had excellent pace here yesterday. Certainly was matching his team leader lap for lap through the first half of the race.
Saw some smoke out of the back of the Mazda of Chris Taylor, and he dropped back a couple of spots.
Big moment by Ricka. He nearly loses the car there.
Lots of tires squealing, but everyone comes out pointing the right direction on the other side. Ricka from pole leads the field, but it's his teammate, PJ Gronky, up into second, and Neudorf finds himself in traffic for the first time all weekend.
Yeah, let's see if he can get his car to come alive. It certainly wasn't there for him. We talked about him making the transition between GT4 machinery. He's just qualifying Mercedes a little bit earlier.
Made that switch with no issues at all yesterday. Jumped right out of the GT4 car, right into this four-wheel drive touring car. It went straight to the lead in the first corner. Won't lead lap 1. It's the first lap all weekend in TC America that he has not led. That goes to Jeff Ricka, the pole sitter. PJ Gronky through in second. Then it is Neudorf, followed by Alana Carter, who had that runner-up finish in race 1 but struggled in race 2.
Yeah, correction, obviously in Aston Martin, he competes in Pirelli GT4, but his car is just not underneath him, Ryan. He's asking for it to turn, and it's just not working for him right now. You can see the car just doesn't have the balance that we saw yesterday. Maybe the tire pressures aren't quite there yet, and he can build on that, keep in touch, and see if the car comes to life here through the second phase of the race.
Instead of looking like the aggressor, putting pressure on PJ Gronky, he now finds himself with Carter looming large in the rearview mirror. And it is worth noting that Alana Carter, because she debuted here in the second to last weekend of the season, that makes her invisible for points. So we were trying to do the calculations yesterday, didn't take that into account, and basically her runner-up finish was not registered for season-long points, and that actually has allowed the championship to be that little bit tighter.
Yeah, I think for PJ Gronky, we thought he had a 1 point gap over Neudorf after the result yesterday. It's actually a 3 point gap, so actually worked in PJ Gronky's favor because of that. But what we didn't note yesterday is that she actually won the Hyundai Cup, because there's a championship within a championship just for the Hyundais that ran earlier in the season at Coda, triple header here, and also the double header Indianapolis, so she won that here yesterday.
That was race number 1. Having a really solid outing once again, although dropping off of Neudorf slightly this time. Neudorf drops the wheels to the outside, exiting the final corner. Puts in a decent lap, starts to reel PJ Gronky back in. Fastest driver on the track, though, is the race leader. It's Jeff Ricka, who just turned a 136.9, which is about 0.3 of a second faster than anybody else was able to muster on the previous lap.
Yeah, and that's a couple of hundreds faster than his fast lap from yesterday. That put him on this pole position to start this race here today. So he's flying. He's got clean air on the front end of that Hyundai. He's also got a great wingman right now, PJ Gronky, keeping that Toyota of Neudorf at bay.
And that's exactly what PJ needs to do, nursing that narrow 3-point lead over Neudorf in the fight for second and third in the championship. And Jonathan's had the better of PJ over the last handful of races. So that was a crucial start for PJ to get that track position early here in race number 3 of the weekend.
Alana here, she's done a nice job keeping in touch here with Neudorf. She certainly had the pace here this weekend. She got shuffled out a little bit on the opening lap of race 2 yesterday and had to utilize her racecraft to climb a couple of spots by the time the checkered flag came out yesterday, but she's in great shape here, knocking on the door of another podium.
Told the story a few times about how Alana got her start racing on ovals, both paved and dirt, up in Canada. Ended up moving all the way across the country to pursue road racing specifically. That was back in 2022. She's won a couple of different shootouts that have giving her some more opportunities to race some really interesting cars, everything from Lotus Emira GT4 to a Radical, doing some GT4 racing in WRL this year, and then got this chance to drive for Ricca Autosport here this weekend at Barber. I asked her if she had any other plans further on in the season, looking ahead to Indianapolis specifically. She said, don't know yet, but wouldn't say no.
Good to see Constantino running well. He had some electrical gremlins yesterday that curtailed his progress in the number 3 JMF Motorsports Toyota. Teammate to Newdorf, of course, but running really good lap times here. He's within 3/10 of his teammates, so that's a really solid day for him so far.
Has to be cathartic as well after all of the issues they've been working through, and you have to give the team and Toyota as well credit. They've been throwing everything but the kitchen sink at that car, and it does seem like they do have things rectified as Constantino has put in some good laps, as you say, Calvin. Looking at our best Sector 1 times on Race Vision powered by AWS just a moment ago. Smattering of times throughout the top 5.
Yeah, you talk about that support from Toyota. Danny Cook, the team manager there with JMF, just says, I can't believe the support we're getting at this level with that brand. So really developing into a great relationship.
That JMF team has blossomed from making a mid-season appearance a few years ago in Rally GT4 America, now with programs at multiple rungs of the ladder. Ooh. This is interesting. Newdorf under a lot of pressure here.
Alana got a great run there coming through that final corner, squared it off a little bit more, just came on this front straightaway with huge speed. I think Newdorf was proactive in kind of feinting over there and creating a bit of a block, but Stewards will certainly be looking at it closely to make sure he's not reacting to the move that Elena potentially could have made into turn 1.
She gets a decent run up the hill, takes a peek to the inside, but Newdorf has a big enough gap, doesn't come under any significant pressure. We were talking about the JMF Motorsports story, and for more on that, let's head down to Amanda.
Hey, Ryan, I'm sitting next to John Farrow at JMF Motorsports, and I do want to tell you quickly that Ryan Marine and Calvin Fish have just been talking about, I think you used the word blossoming, how much this program has blossomed throughout this paddock, especially this season, now having the GT3 entry, obviously with the guys on track now. You got a podium yesterday in GT4. When you hear this, how meaningful is this for you personally, John?
It's very exciting. I mean, when I started this program, this is what I dreamt about, that we would be in a position to contend, go for championships. So I'm excited.
You're also putting young drivers in the potential to go after their dreams as well. Why is that at the root of it?
I was always taught to give, bring forward, give forward, to help people out. And racing's always been my passion and love. So helping young drivers that don't have the whereabouts, it's important to me.
John, we can see how much this matters to you in your eyes. Thank you for your passion and your commitment.
I appreciate that.
Oh, one more thing. Check out the shoes, guys. In fashion, John Farrow.
Absolutely.
Outstanding. And I'll echo those sentiments. He has become a huge benefactor in this paddock, and especially of Canadian motorsport. Not just Canadians, but primarily you see him time after time identifying these promising young talents like a Jonathan Newdorf and like an Antonio Constantino, giving them the resources to showcase their skills and race at a really high level.
Yeah, they created a great ladder system, and now they're at every level of the championship here in SRO. So it's a great team, and blossoming. My goodness, I mean, they are really in with the show. It seems every single race of the weekend here across all 3 classes that they compete in.
Newdorf coming under a lot of pressure right now. Alana Carter has him in her crosshairs. Her strong debut weekend in TC America continues. If she could make the pass, that could be potentially 2 podium results for her in her debut, having never driven this car before Thursday. Amazing.
Yeah, it really is. You can just see she's just so poised and just does such a great job. Super disciplined. Look at her line here. This is why she got that run on Newdorf before. He adopts kind of more a middle of the road approach, but look at the exit speed that she develops by that line that she creates, kind of setting up that final corner.
Brings her close to Neudorf, but not close enough to pop out a line. Oh, Jonathan really wringing the neck.
Yeah, I think they lost the balance on that race car. Maybe they gambled a little bit, knowing that it was going to be tight to get that sweep here today. It just doesn't seem like the car has come alive that we saw in the first 2 rounds of the weekend.
Agreed. Jeff Ricker on cruise control out in front. It's the longest he's gone without a win all season.
His best lap is now 136.4. That's half a second quicker than he ran here yesterday. So maybe as a twofer where maybe the Toyota went in the wrong direction and Jeff Ricker went in the right direction, as Elena now puts on that pressure big time for that podium spot.
Does indeed. Neudorf struggled a little bit exiting turn 6. Brought Carter to the precipice, but again, Neudorf has just enough in reserve to be able to hang on to the position.
He's a feisty competitor. You can see how he fights the race car. He tries to dig, try and find every ounce of speed out of that Toyota. And he was doing it even when they were just battling for top 5s, I would say, early in the season. And I think by pushing so hard, suddenly when they got the balance of performance more equalized between the 2 manufacturers, that really paid dividends because Jonathan was used to pushing that hard and that deep all of the time.
Yeah, it's a good point. Through the first 7 races of the season, they hadn't finished better than 5th. And then all of a sudden, in inclement weather at VIR, they take the win, back it up with a 4th place result in race 2. And at Road America, the car went from strength to strength and really for the first time in dry conditions showcased the kind of pace that's required to run at the frontier in TC America this year.
Yeah, and I think give a tip of the hat to Hyundai as a manufacturer and to Jeff Ricker as a team that they've been okay with the series adjusting the performance of their race cars to make this more of a genuine race between a new manufacturer entering this championship.
Yeah, they understand what it's all about. Certainly the Gen Racer folks, we heard from Jeff in Victory Lane yesterday, didn't we, about how he is committed to touring car racing in the SRO paddock. And some of that is a give and a take, isn't it? Race Vision powered by AWS, no give and take here. It's all take as far as Jeff Rick is concerned. He's got the fastest sector times in all 3 sectors, and that's allowed him to leg out a 2.2 second lead over PJ Gronke.
Gronke, though, again, just having a really solid weekend. I think similar times to Carter, but really solid weekend in general for PJ Gronke. He had jumped out of line at the start on race 1. That really hurt his potential for a podium. Otherwise, I think it could have been 3 podiums on the weekend. Still got 12 minutes to go in this one now.
PJ turning in what might be his best lap of the race right now. Best sector 1 was moderately quicker than the race leader in sector 2. Neudorf building that edge again over Carter. Maybe that car getting stronger as the race goes on. We will see. Gronke now 2.4 seconds adrift of the leader, and Neudorf continues to explore the very edge of the racing surface here. He's using every bit of the paved stuff and then some.
Yeah, he is wringing its neck. Carter just sits there. She is just learning as we go very, very quickly in this race weekend. Was a little bit deeper in the pack, had to fight her way through, made a couple of nice passes. I think she feels she's got a car that's maybe got a little bit more pace than Neudorf, but he is feisty. He doesn't want to give this up.
No. Now, this does not have championship implications, as we talked about. Carter is invisible for points. I say that. A change in position has no implications. Any kind of coming together still very much could. So he has to keep that in the back of his mind.
I think there's just a huge difference between finishing 3rd and 4th. When you spray champagne versus a solid 4th position, that is a huge cherry on the top of a good race.
Well, don't forget, Neudorf has the chance to accrue 6 podiums potentially this weekend. He's doing the triple header in TC America, but it's also a triple header in Pirelli GT4 America this weekend, and he finished on the podium in race 1 of that yesterday. Imagine trying to get 6 trophies through the screening in Birmingham Airport later on in the weekend.
Yeah, he had lofty goals after that first. We're talking about 6 victories, but I tell you what, 6 podiums would still be a heck of an achievement with the competition level here this weekend.
Had to pay for oversized baggage probably to bring all of them home.
Look at this. Carter just really gets off that final corner well and is probing, looking to try and make that move into turn one. Neudorf just sends it through turn one, uses all of the road and a little bit more. Not quite close enough to think about a move here in a turn five.
Big difference between these two platforms. Just looking at it, the wheelbase visually different. Front wheel drive in the Hyundai, four-wheel drive in the Toyota.
Almost
Here she
alongside
comes.
here. I'm sure Neudorf with that inside line is going to send it.
She's able to hang around the outside, but only temporarily. She told me this is the part of the track. She's been here before in a rear-wheel drive car. This is the section where she had to really get comfortable being uncomfortable with the amount of rotation you experience in the front-wheel drive car.
Yeah, that's a great point in terms of what you're doing with your throttle application to try and help the car steer through there. With a rear-wheel drive car, you can use that throttle. If you pick up the throttle too early in a front-wheel drive car, you're just going to pick up some understeer potentially.
Get Neudorf 2 wheels off. It seems to work for him, though.
Certainly does. He's not fazed by it at all. Look, the line she runs there is really good, and right here is where she really rockets off this corner.
Getting closer. Alana Carter looking to the inside. Will she attempt the dive to the inside of the two-time race winner this weekend? Not close enough to make the effort.
Neudorf's pretty strong here through turn two. That's the corner that really sets up a legitimate overtaking move into turn five, but it seems like Neudorf's pretty strong through that sector, unfortunately for Carter.
Here's James Klimas, having a solid season, just learning this new platform as the year has gone along, driving for the Skip Barber racing team with whom he drove last year in Toyota GR Cup competition. Here comes Carter again, though. This time a little bit closer, more alongside.
Look at the marbles though offline. That's the problem. If you try and get around the cushion, so to speak, you got to deal with that rubber and see if it's going to give you the grip. You could go for a ride.
The other issue is Connor Rattrell's been really quick the last couple of laps and is looming that little bit larger just behind as these two squabble. This is third and fourth right now up for grabs.
Yeah, we now got 3 drivers in the 136s, including Jeff Rick with a fast lap 136.4. You got Carter at 136.8. Rattrell, as you said, is on a bit of a charge at a 136.9.
Gronke's best lap at a 37 flat. Still holds second place. Not losing any ground.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit more cloud cover today, so I don't have a reading on track temperature, unfortunately, on our screen right now, but I've got to imagine it's a little bit lower than it was here yesterday under the brilliant sunshine.
Yep. I think you're right. Here is Costantino again in the car that's been plagued by electrical gremlins. So frustrating in a modern race car how much is tied up in the electrical wiring, and it can come down to just one little wire in it's almost the needle in the proverbial haystack, right? You're looking for just the right thing in a very complicated wiring harness oftentimes.
Yeah, that's for sure, but I think for Costantino, he'll be happy running lap times now within a couple of tenths of his teammate who's won a couple of races this weekend in the number 4. So that's a really good solid bounce back for Costantino.
And here is Chris Taylor making his debut in the championship, at least as a racing driver. We've told the story a few times this weekend, but he's been around the paddock for a long time, including helping Eric Powell win a TCA championship back in 2021. Chris Taylor was the car chief on that car. He's a racing lifer, went quarter midget racing at age 8 and never looked back. Spent a lot of time working with his dad in a Mazda prep shop that he and his father Walt operated starting in 2003, and since 2012 Chris has run the Chris Taylor Racing Services operation based down just outside of Circuit of the Americas. And as Amanda told us pre-race, he's done some tuning on our RF cameraman Joey's B-Spec car over the years. Quite a booming business these days. And now we're hearing reports of rain, and I think I see it. So just like that, the humidity has turned into precipitation with 5 minutes to go. This could change the race entirely, especially when you consider this car running in third. This is four-wheel drive and has excelled in these kinds of conditions all year long.
Yeah, Trell's got the wipers on, as you can see, obviously down into turn 5. So yeah, let's see if this rain changes the racing surface enough. Pretty warm out there, so initially it won't be too much of an issue, but if it continues to pound down, but time is not on Neudorf's side here, if he's going to take advantage of that all-wheel drive vehicle.
Lap times have dropped off tremendously, over a second on the last lap, slower than best laps of the race. So that rain has had some effect so far. Neudorf has to be licking his chops. This is exactly what he was hoping for, albeit maybe a little later than he would have liked.
Yeah, this is huge right now. If he can get to PJ Gronke, let's not forget, comes into this round 3 points back, sitting in P3 in the standings, and it is really tipping it down right now.
No spray off the tires yet. Keep in mind, everyone started the race on slicks.
You have to keep pushing. You need to keep the energy in the car. So it's a double-edged sword here in terms of being careful, but not dropping off the pace so much you have no tire temperature to give you that grip.
We had seen lap times in the 136s and 137s. They're all the way down in the mid-141s now for the top two, but Neudorf is quicker by about half a second on the last lap. The all-wheel drive of his Toyota Corolla really coming to the fore. He has left Carter behind and now is running down PJ Gronke.
Yeah, this is going to be big. Just looking at the points delta between second and third, it's a 3-point swing, and he's 3 points back. So if he can get around PJ, they'd be tied for second in the championship heading to Indianapolis.
Unbelievable, the twists and turns in this title challenge, even in the late stages here. 3 minutes to go. I suspect it's this lap and maybe one more. So time running out, but look how quickly Neudorf has been able to run down the Hyundai driver, PJ Gronke.
Yeah, PJ's doing a good job, though. He's keep pushing here. No, he's just dropping way back, kind of gauging himself. Oh, big move there by Neudorf. Big slide, lost the front end.
Luckily, there is that little stretch of pavement there just beyond the strip of grass, and Neudorf used it to his advantage, able to get it wound up just enough, and now continues in his pursuit once again.
Yeah, this is where it's really wet through here. We're not really seeing any rain lines to being adopted where you kind of run outside the normal racing line, the traditional line. You just search for grip. You want to hear all that rubber hitting the inner fenders here. That's when you know you're offline enough, and where the grip potentially is. You want to square it off here, come on to this front straightaway, more in the middle of the road. He's definitely closing in on PJ on this lap.
It may yet be 2 laps to go. Still 2 minutes on the clock. They're running 147s. So it really depends how much the pace drops off here on this lap. Here comes Neudorf. He's run down PJ Gronke and immediately goes on the attack, trying to work the outside lane.
Yeah, that's where that grip is. Searching for the rain line. A lot of these drivers don't have that much experience here at Barber to know in wet conditions where the grip is, so you're exploring as Neudorf on the attack, looks to the inside, down into turn 5.
PJ Gronke has no recourse but to let Neudorf through, tries to cross him over, but Jonathan Neudorf has the position.
Does he have the time?
Yeah, huge swing in the championship and potentially more on offer because Rika's not that far ahead.
No, he is not. And I think it's going to be a lap and a half to see the checkered flag. So what can he pull out of his hat here? Rick has got to keep pushing without risking. See, there is just such a steep incline. You lose that front end. It's like someone pulls the rug from underneath your feet there when you're trying to get the car to turn.
Neudorf was a second plus faster than Rika on the last lap. He needs to find 2.3 seconds in these conditions. Continue to favor the Toyota. The wetter it gets, the better the four-wheel drive will be.
Yeah, this is where it's really wet, as you can see. And Ricka's off the road. Neudorf is going to be pouncing here shortly. Can Rika respond? Neudorf is off as well. PJ keeps it on the island.
He has the benefit of watching the other two.
Oh, Neudorf's off again.
Oh, Gronke barely keeps it on track himself. He's through, at least momentarily. Here comes Neudorf, undeterred. Rolls the outside line, and he'll take the second spot back, coming to the white flag.
Oh, that was crucial for Neudorf. Really was. He had to keep it on the island. He's lost too much of a gap now to Ricker. Who's going to survive here?
1 lap to go. The gap at the line, 3.3 seconds. Here comes Kroenke challenging back to the outside. Neudorf was so close he could almost taste the victory as he looks to sweep the weekend. He goes wide again, but this time just barely keeps it in bounds.
PJ's doing an awesome job here, just being super disciplined, using the traditional dry line, but just being really careful with this throttle application, all of his inputs. Everything has to be that much softer when you're dealing with a low grip surface like we have right now.
Doesn't take much. One little misstep can have dramatic consequences. Jeff Ricker, the champion-elect, leads by 3.3 seconds over the hard-charging Jonathan Neudorf in the heavy rain. A race that started in bone-dry conditions has turned on its head, and it has favored the Toyota driver, Jonathan Neudorf, who's used it to his advantage. He's taken second place, but he's running out of time in his pursuit of a third consecutive win.
Yeah, I think it's all about for Ricker just surviving where the track is at its wettest through those final 3 or 4 corners. The gap is big enough for him just to control it. You'd have to feel just tippy-toe his way through here a little bit more gingerly than he did on that previous tour.
Jeff Ricker, team boss for Gin Racer. Ricker Autosport
He's
again
off.
goes wide. Can Neudorf keep it on the black stuff? Yes, he can.
Guys, here he comes.
Neudorf is through. He takes the lead, but now he locks up. He also goes wide. Neudorf drops off track, but is able to wrangle it back under control. Just 1 corner to go as Neudorf and Ricker battle for the lead of the race. Again, they go side by side. Again, they nearly go off track. Neudorf fights back to the inside, and he'll have the grunt coming out of the final corner. Neudorf, in dramatic fashion, will sweep the weekend at Barber Motorsports Park narrowly, fending off Jeff Ricker by 1/10 of a second. PJ Kroenke settles for third to complete the podium in the pouring rain at Barber.
That was wild. John Farrow celebrates there. What an exciting end to this race. We talked about the advantage that car would have. I think that was just all down to the drivers. PJ did an awesome job. I don't think he left the circuit, whereas the 2 drivers finishing in the front of him did several times. That was crazy there.
That's why you never give up. It was a 3.3 second gap, first to second, starting the final lap, and with just a couple of corners to go, the door opened, and Jonathan Neudorf barged through to make it a clean sweep of the triple header here at Barber. Yeah, outstanding.
Yeah, through 13 there, Jeff Ricker just could not get his car to respond to the steering input there. It just sent it straight off 2 laps in a row. And that time Neudorf was close enough to pounce and keep it bare. His problem corner was the next one, right? Turn 15 is where he had a ton of understeer in that Toyota.
A 4th win of the season for Jonathan Neudorf. And this is how it happened, Cal. Jonathan Neudorf taking advantage of Jeff Ricker's little miscue.
Yeah, watch Ricker's car there. He just can't turn the wheel. You see the wheel's almost straight. If you turn it more, it's just going to exaggerate that situation. Then he's just trying to get some grip back. The Neudorf is immediately on a slide. Look at him kind of aquaplaning across the road. Then it's like who wants it the most here is just fighting out tooth and nail. Ricker now will pick up some understeer. Watch right there. He can't get the car to turn. He's not blocking Neudorf. He just has 0 response from the steering. PJ's just sitting there thinking, can I get a good clean run here off the final corner? But he's not close enough.
Just enough from Neudorf to win the drag race to the checkered flag. 163 thousandths, so basically a 1/10.5 of a second. And Jonathan Neudorf takes his 4th win of the season and 3rd on the bounce, and with it takes sole possession of 2nd in the championship. That's a battle that will go down to the final 2 races at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Here's the results. Top 3 covered by 1.2 seconds. Alana Carter, who had never sat in this car before Thursday, surely never had any wet laps in the car, with another good run today, ends up 4th in her debut weekend. Connor Wittrell 5th, Costantino Klimas, Taylor the top 8, and Eric Coons again with the gearbox issues will be scored 9th at the conclusion of the race today. Looks like the rain has almost stopped. So Mother Nature just wanted to spice things up for us a little bit, and well, the racing delivered, didn't it? That was spectacular.
Yeah, it really was. That was fantastic stuff there. An exciting end to a triple header weekend.
Can't wait to hear from this young man. Look
He
how
is gonna
fired
be-
up he is.
he
He's
is
ready to be out of the
pumped.
car.
He is pumped.
Yeah, 3 wins. 3 wins this weekend. You don't get to do that every day. Matches Jeff Ricka's feat from earlier this year. And look at the whole JMF crew there to celebrate with him. Mike David Orpman, he'll drive in GT4 America later. Jesse Webb, John Farrow himself, Braden Arthur. That is a whole crew, and there's Jeff Ricka as well. Awesome.
They look like they were in trouble in the drive for the first time here this weekend, but boy, when that weather came in, gave him new hope, and he took it.
Well, you just knew he was licking his chops as soon as the first raindrops fell. He knew that was his chance. But then he had to seal the deal. There were a couple near misses where it could have all gone away.
Oh,
But somehow, some way, he had just enough.
disaster was literally waiting on every corner there at the end.
Was indeed. Let's hear from the winner now.
Jonathan, I have a feeling that not only will this be such a memorable weekend for you, but this race specifically, when the rain started falling, what went through your mind?
Well, you know, at first I was starting to lose hope at the weekend sweep. You know, the cars seemed, the Hyundai seemed very fast in the dry, and I just couldn't hang on. And then when I seen the rain falling, I was like, this might be my chance. I wasn't sure how much time was left in the race, but gave us just enough time. Rico went off and I went off, and it was crazy, but we managed to get the win right at the end. It feels amazing. You know, I just want to thank JMF, Toyota, Alpha Jet, Nuterra, everybody. I mean, everyone's worked so hard, so it's great to come home with 3 wins this weekend.
Congratulations to Jonathan Neudorf. I can tell you it was pretty entertaining for all of us as your team jumped off of the pit box all celebrating. I do want to get the other side of this story with Jeff Ricka. Jeff, you guys were trading going on and off the track between you and Jonathan Neudorf, but I know that last one probably kind of paralyzed you a little bit. How did you react?
Well, it would have been nice if I had 2 more rear-wheel drive tires on there, but otherwise, yeah, I mean, it was an awesome show. I love to give the crowd, the fans, you know, an amazing, you know, spectacle at the last lap. Unfortunately, yeah, I just didn't have the grip coming out of that corner. I mean, it was fun that we were going off, but it was like ice. I mean, it was nothing I could have done. I had 0 brake pressure, minimal amount of throttle, just to get the car to move. And yeah, it was, if I needed 1 less lap or just a little bit less rain, and I think it would have been fine, but it is what it is.
Well, a pretty incredible finish that we were rewarded with. And guys, the rain has already stopped down here, which is incredible. But let's head over to PJ with that smile. On the broadcast, it was mentioned that you were just out there maintaining, running a great race. What was it like for your experience in the rain, PJ?
It was honestly a very good race. We had a wicked start, as you could see. We were just pacing Jeff, trying to stay with him to maintain the gap, hopefully keep the tires underneath us so we could maybe try and do something at the end. Unfortunately, the weather gods did not smile upon us. It started raining. It was mainly just trying to keep it on track. I knew Jonathan would get me with all-wheel drive. It's a matter of fact. I can't fight that. But the Hyundai Elantra N1 TC Evo was just wicked at the start of the race. In the rain, it was great. We kept in one piece. These two started dicing ahead of me, and I was like, oh, just let me get there. And it was so close. But we got Indy coming up. It's going to be amazing. I can't thank Hyundai Motor America enough, Rick Autosport. This is what we do.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
What a battle. Should be fun, that fight for second in the championship, which will rage into the finale at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. There are the point standings. Jeff Ricka, champion-elect, with a hefty lead, but it's now Jonathan Neudorf in second, and the lead is 7 points with just 2 races to go.
Yeah, that was big. He was going to be on a big deficit going into Indy, but with that rain at the end, he leapfrogged around PJ and grabbed the win at the same time.
Outstanding. Eric Coons does score some points today, and that's crucial because it's enough to keep him in 4th. Connor Rattrell just behind, and it's a big logjam after that. As the championship heads to the finale at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway next month. Exciting action here at Barber today. Plenty to think back upon. And this is how it played out, starting in hot but dry conditions. From pole position, Jeff Ricka accelerated away. PJ Gronke, what a great start. He jumped up into second. That's where he ran for the bulk of the race. But then the rain came, and it changed everything. Neudorf ran down and passed PJ Gronke. That was for second. That had him level with PJ in points. Then, late in the going, Jeff goes off. That opens the door for Neudorf to come alongside and take the lead of the race. But Jonathan himself goes wide. That then lets Ricka back through, and what a battle it was for the final couple of corners on dry tires in the pouring rain. These two slugging it out for the race win to conclude this triple header. At the end, though, at the line, Jonathan Neudorf took his third win of the weekend as Jeff Ricka celebrates a championship 1 here in Alabama.